for joining us. First, I'll have to say that by the time we finish this conversation, we will probably had maybe a couple hundred people who have died from some sort of heart related condition. And sadly, many of them will be Black women. Hate to start on a somber note, but it's the truth. It is the facts. Thank you for joining us at Self-FULLness Matters. We take self care out of the box to engage in conversations about the many ways to wellness. We discuss practical solutions for you to abundantly add into your wellness account so that you can give from your overflow. I am Coach Robin Renee, proprietress of Alpha to Omega Holistic Therapeutic Services, LLC. It is a wellness lifestyle brand with a mission to educate on natural care for mind, body, and soul, encourage mindful movement, and empower you to be well. I intentionally curate safe wellness spaces where Black bodies can freely breathe, move, and thrive. And I am so excited for my guest today. Not only is she one of my dearest friends, this is a platform that is near and dear to her heart. And I'm just going to say, Coach T, take it from here. You can introduce yourself and let the people know what you want them to know.
Well, thank you so much, Robin. I just love your platform and everything that you do to get people access to living a better lifestyle and to be well. I mean, I have watched you over the last 25 years, and what we do together is impeccable. And the beautiful thing about it is that we're enhancing lives and we're dancing in our passion. So, good afternoon, evening, morning to all of you that are here with us. My name is Terri Wellness Coach Jackson. I am a licensed wellness coach of 25 years, and I like to tell people that I'm absolutely dancing in my passion. I love helping people take charge of their health, preferably their heart health, and also get on the other side of money. I am the founder and CEO of Sisters for the number 4 self care, and that is for women that's gone through any type of domestic violence, depression, dis-ease, or gone through a divorce. And I know, listen, we don't want to be Debbie Downers here, but we go through these things, right?
We do.
As women, we go through these things. And I went through all 4 of those things. And I said, well, if I can get through it, if I can survive it, if I can collaborate with a community where they're all about taking charge of their health, where they're all about empowering women, where they're all about total wellness and heart health, listen, I can start an organization now. It's 14 years with Sisters for Self Care, going strong with women across the country. And so, yes, Robin, my passion is heart disease in women, especially awareness of it. And unfortunately, every 34 seconds, someone is dying from cardiovascular disease. Every 40 seconds, somebody has a heart attack. And every 40 seconds, someone has a stroke. And we have got to do something so that these numbers aren't taking place. It used to be every 36 seconds.
Hmm.
And now we're at 34. So it's like, what are the habits? What kind of decisions are we making? What's your family history or habits of your family? What's going on there where we can turn it around for the better? And so I'm seeking out those women who want to help Coach T and Sisters for Self Care and help yourself, you know, decrease the amount of deaths that's happening every single day. 1,905, according to the CDC, a day die from cardiovascular events. And unfortunately, it's women. That's what we go red for women. I see you have your shirt on. They go red for women because there are women dying every 34 seconds, and it's usually a woman of color.
And I mean, that's so sad. But like you said, it's factual. So I just want to say this to our audience. The conversation is going to go up and down. So we'll have some up moments. And the down moments are not to make you feel bad, like Coach T said. It's just that those are the facts. So let's talk about for the past week. So, Coach T, I like to ask people about what was your roles from the past week and what was your thorn in anything in life. It could have been in business or just in your personal life. So your rose, that bright moment, your thorn, that thing that was getting to you from just the last week alone.
So, of course, Friday is the National Go Red Day. And prior to Friday, when I was doing my research just to see where we are in 2023 ending and where we're going into 2024, was heartbreaking. And I knew that there was something. that God has put in me even before I was born, even before you were born, to do something about this matter right here. And so I did a salad in a jar party. And you've been to my salad in a jar parties because, the choices that we make as far as putting food in our bodies matter. And a lot of people don't realize that heart disease just doesn't start with you having high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or being pre diabetic or a diabetic. It starts from your arteries starting to clog even before then. So, like right now, the choices that women or men or people are making right now across the country, it if they're not good habits, is contributing towards clogging that artery. You might have a great blood pressure. You're not diabetic, but them arteries are being filled up with plaque. And over time, if you consistently do that habit, then that's the person that has that massive heart attack that ran, marathons and 5Ks, but was in good health, ate right, was not on any medication. But over time, the hardening of the arteries take place. And so if you can think about your age right now, 54, about to go into 55, all 54 years, what have I been doing to contribute to my heart health? Have I been going through a downward trajectory, or am I enhancing my heart health by doing more cardiovascular activity, which increases our high density lipoproteins? That's a good cholesterol. So it keeps the arteries clean. Are we eating better? So when you asked me, what did I do last week? Those are the things I was thinking about. I was thinking about how can I educate people to eat better? Let me kick off the month with my salad in a jar party. Things that are green, things that are vibrant, vegetables that are crunchy and not cooked to the point of where they just dead and limp and looking real, sad on a plate. You want your plate to be vibrant and full of colors and nutrients. And then I started thinking about, now when I do that, I've also got to teach people how to supplement, because you and I both know that we can't get all the nutrients from the food because the soil is now depleted. And so, if we're not getting at least 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, or 2 to 3 essential fatty acids a day in the body, we're wearing our body out. We won't have anywhere to live but in the urn or in the grave. And so, that's what I was thinking about, this week, Robin.
Yeah, that's well, I already told the audience we're going up and down. We're going up and down. So mine, well, my rose was looking forward to this conversation because I know, the passion that you hold for this, in your actual heart. And my thorn was the weather. It's like we have been under so many clouds in the Midwest for the entire month of January. So when that sun popped out, I was like, yes, I popped out too. So yeah, that was what my, the bigger rose was. But of course, looking forward to this conversation. And I do want to pause and say, our condolences, Kathy. She put in the chat that she just buried a friend on Friday who died from a stroke. And so that falls right into line of what we were talking about in terms of the number of people who will pass away, within this conversation. That's the sad part. And then
Yeah.
the other thing I'll say, Kathy is a dear friend of mine too from high school, and Kathy is actually an RN. So she's worked from the gamut, from trauma to, I don't know, Kathy, have you been in hospice? She done traveled all over the world, being a
I
nurse. So yeah,
love
so she's
Kathy
seen this stuff.
already.
Yeah, she's seen this stuff first. Oh, that's your soror.
Oh,
Kathy's your soror. Yes, yes, yes. So she's seen the gamut of it. Yeah.
and the thing is, I love that we have clinical healthcare professionals who really aren't about just doing their role, but really want to make a difference by bringing value to patients and families. And I know there's some lines drawn there in our workplace when we do that, because I'm a licensed physical therapist assistant, and cardiac rehab is huge. And what I want people to know, when we go red 365 at Sisters for Self Care, we don't believe in just going red for the month of February. We start February 1st and we go red 365. So when you say what was my rose is the fact that I get to educate and bring value to people and earn trust. My thorn was thinking about, as I was researching, all the people at the moment that I was researching that were passing away, the
Hmm.
1,905 people a day. And so disease and stroke go together, right? And Kathy will agree with me. When we go red for stroke as well. Even though they have May as Stroke Awareness Month, right? We go red for heart disease and stroke because every 40 seconds somebody has a stroke. Think about that. And when people stroke out, Robin, you can stroke out on the right side of the brain, the left side of the brain, the back of the brain. And so when you're a clinical health professional, you understand the lobes of the brain. So people who have seizures, they can have it frontal, temporal. This is your frontal lobe. This is your temporal lobe. This is the parietal lobe. This is the occipital lobe. But when you have strokes, if you have a stroke on the left side of the brain, then the right side is affected. Okay,
Hmm.
people, some value to you. If you have a stroke on the right side of the brain, then the left side is affected. What do you mean by that, Coach T? Well, if I have a stroke on my right side of the brain, then I may not be able to use my left extremities. The left side of the body becomes weaker. And so, as a physical therapist, I have to treat the left brain. I've got to trigger, those brain sensors to go back to picking up a glass of water with the left hand. I got to wake those up. And so it's kind of like the brain having a heart attack. Those arteries in there get clogged and you have a stroke.
I know it's and also going along the lines with stroke, people think it's like what you're eating, but sometimes it's what you're doing in terms of the activities and stress taking you to another dimension. But the other part is what you're not doing, and that's rest. And rest doesn't mean sleeping 8 hours because every human body does not require 8 hours. You can still get some quality restorative rest in less than 8 hours, but you gotta rest. And resting is not laying in the bed scrolling on the TikTok until the girl come on there and say, "Are you scrolling again?" When she come on there, you know you're in trouble. She done caught me 3 times in the past year. I know. I know. I'm like, I give them little rabbit holes. Are you scrolling again? Let's breathe. Girl, I'm getting off. I'm getting off now. But
Yeah.
that's what we do. We think because we're laying down that we're going to sleep or that we're getting rest. That's too much activity. That blue light, those screens, that's too much in your brain, and your brain is not able to turn off.
No. And your body will tell you. Most people don't realize there are signs and symptoms to heart disease and stroke. And people say, Coach T is so elementary, the jaw pain, the left arm tightness. Not just that. You can be sweating profusively. You can feel lightheaded or dizzy. You can have some type of nausea. Ladies, you can have abdominal pain.
Hmm.
Hello. You can have mid back pain. You could have neck pain. You have to listen to your body. And Robin, you said something so key. One of the 7 critical wellness activities is sleep and rest. They go together. That body will shut you down. Some people don't make it. Some people get laid
Right.
out, go to ICU, got to get IV, got to get replenished of their electrolytes and all of that. And as women, we continue to go, 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 gone. And
Exactly.
and if
Yeah.
you're gone, who's going to take care of the family? Because most women are running their households right now. And so I tell my children, ever since they were little, they're grown now, they're young adults. I used to tell them, listen, do not come in mommy's room unless you're on fire. Because this is my time. I've got to shut it down. I've been a single mom since they were 2 and 4. And
Hmm.
so now they're 26 and 23. But the bottom line is, hello, you got to set boundaries, ladies, for yourself. We are married, we're in relationships, we have full time jobs, or you're working 2 jobs, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. And you're going to church, you got to cook meals, you're taking kids to extracurricular activities, or you're going to celebrate a grandbaby, or you're putting on a wedding, or there's a bridal shower, you're trying to start your own business. You have got to take some time for you. And my recommendation as a wellness coach of 27 years, you need 30 minutes 3 times a week. I would love for it. That's realistic. That is realistic. I would love for it to be 30 minutes a day. Now, that's not to say, Robin, that when you get up in the morning, 30 minutes of meditation and writing in your gratitude journal and spending your time with your higher being, mine is the Lord Jesus Christ, right? Sipping on my herbal tea, or maybe if you do coffee, the best coffee out there that you know of. But sleep is one of the number one critical wellness activities, and you need at least 7 hours of it. That the brain waves need to rest. It actually helps women lose weight. Well, these women don't realize that you get enough
Talk
sleep,
about it. That cortisol. Talk about
that
it, baby.
cortisol,
Yes.
you are going to release that. You can lose weight. All these menopausal women, and oh, I'm up at night. I can listen. Take your nap during the day. There's all kinds of research out there that says napping is good, napping is not good. Do what your body's telling you to do. I've told my mother several times. Listen, she'll call me. My mother lives with me. I'm a caregiver. That's another thing, ladies. We caregiving. We're in the same
Mm-hmm.
industry. We taking care of our parents and we're raising our kids. Right? Come on. And so if we don't say to those responsible adults and young children, I need to go lay it down.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't, I'm gonna have a stroke, or I'm gonna have a heart attack, or I'm gonna be on my back and I'm not gonna get well. I've got to lay it down. A good 45 minutes to an hour is a great power nap. I don't know about you, Robin, but when I get them little naps in, I feel like, hey, I can go at least 4 more hours again. That felt great,
Yeah,
right?
naps help you make good decisions. Yes, naps
Yes,
help
they
you make
do.
good
It,
decisions.
it, it gives you an opportunity to just be still. And that's another thing, sitting in silence. That is the one when I coach my women that they struggle with the most.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the women I coach now, they're getting 6 to 7 hours. I coach T is getting better. But you telling me another critical wellness activity is to sit in silence? Can't do it. They cannot, Robin. These women can't stay still 5 minutes. That's a red flag. A river. Put the phone down. Yesterday, my daughter was like, Mom, you have not looked at your phone in 1 hour. I said, I'm trying to live. I, I,
Yes,
yeah, I'm not going to scroll. I know this is the time where me and you are having a conversation, eating some dinner. My phone's not at the dinner table. I don't even allow, do not have your phone at the dinner table. The phones go in a basket, right? Everybody going,
yes,
let's get back to talking and have some intellectual conversations about what we're eating
definitely.
or what's going on, because the reason why mental health is an issue is because everybody's brain is doing 25,000 things at one time, and nobody is pouring into each other and giving that love like it used to be, in sister circles or man caves at the barber shop, or just with your family at dinner. We're not doing that anymore.
We're not. And then I want to tag on to what Kathy is saying in terms of turning your mind off. And that's also what you were saying, Coach T. When you sit still, you are doing something. People look at it like, oh, that's boring, but you're doing something. You're allowing your brain to turn off. You want to actually turn your brain off. Now, will it turn off to the point where you're dead? No, that's not what that's about. It's about turning it off to all of the distractions that are going on, even if it's for 10 minutes. And I'll
Mm,
say this about meditation. Some people get nervous about meditation because they thinking is, demonic and all that. But this is what I'm gonna say first. I'm gonna say this because I believe in Jesus too, the Lord, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. If you and Jesus' relationship got messed up because you meditate, it wasn't together before you went up in there. Boom. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Because prayer is meditation. When you're
thank
sitting
you.
still, worship is meditation, right? If you're able to slow your mind down enough to where you allow whatever's going to happen, that's meditation. If meditation or the idea of meditation is difficult for you, just sit still until you fall asleep. You will eventually get to the practice of where you can sit still without falling asleep.
Yes.
Another thing I learned in a meditation class, and I shout out to Coach Mo when I went to her meditation class for the first time. She had us to count backwards from 100. It took me almost three times to get, and you can't say 90, like you can't say 99, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You got to say 98, 99, 97, and remember each number as you go down. I can do it now. I mean, I can, but when I first tried, I'm like, this is crazy. I can't count backwards from 100, but it worked until I got comfortable in that space of being in meditation and being able to sit still.
Yeah.
I can sit in a room without the television on, without the lights on, and no, I'm not, in a depressed state or anything. It's just sometimes it's too much.
It's
It's
too.
just too much going on, and you need to slow yourself down. And yes, Kathy, you're right. We don't know how. We don't know how to slow
We
down because you know why? Part of the reason, and especially with black women, I'm a black woman. I know a lot of black women. I've been black 56 years. I'm just saying, I know about most black women. I'll say that not every single one, and I'm not putting this on anybody, but this is what I know. We feel that if we stop or if we slow down, the world is not going to be able to rotate. That's in our head. It's ingrained in our head because if we stop and if we sit down, then we're called lazy. And we don't want to be called lazy. So it's like I have to be doing something all the time. But no, you don't. And then with the boundaries you were talking about, Coach T, with my kids, they knew my hours, 4 to 6 a.m. If you get up between 4 to 6 a.m., we going to the hospital because there's got to be something seriously wrong with
something
you.
wrong.
If you ain't trying to go to the hospital, yeah, I'm gonna need you to lay. And especially when they got to the point where they could get up, and get their own snacks or whatever they had going on in the morning. But when they were little bitty babies, I had to start training them to even when they were waking up, oh, we gonna lay down. Like I still put them down next to me. You're up, and you can sit here, And my son was so funny because I put my leg over on him, and he would cry, "Your leg too fat." Your legs, but you ain't going nowhere. That was to keep him safe though. Like, don't get up out of this bed. You lay right there. I put my leg down on him, put it, across his legs, like across his trunk, and as long as I know you in this room. So they were learning, but when they were very small, they didn't know what time it was, and they didn't know what those hours meant. But what they knew was we weren't moving at this time. And
That's right.
then as they got older, they knew I'm getting up, whether I'm reading the Bible, whether I'm meditating, whether I'm exercising, they knew that those hours were sacred and they were able to respect that to
Yeah.
say, oh, it can wait. Because my question would be like, is the house gonna blow up if you don't get it? No.
Yeah.
So see you.
Yeah. And be it the fact that I grew up in a predominantly white environment, as a young child, when I used to go eat dinner at a friend's house, they ate dinner, they had their choices, but after dinner was quiet time. I
Mm,
don't care if they played Mozart or whatever, but everybody was either in a den or somewhere in that house where they had a book, there was classical music playing, or somebody was just sitting in silence. And we don't do that. And I'm gonna ask you all, I always say as a heart health assignment, practice it. Practice it with
mm-hmm.
your family. Say, you know what? We're gonna sit in silence for 30 minutes, meaning nobody in the household is doing anything, everything off, everything quiet. And when you talk about your bedrooms, no one should have TVs in their bedroom.
Babe, do you know I had a big old situation when, and listen, like, sir, the TV does not belong in the bedroom. That's how I grew up. Like, you go to bed. Like, what are you looking at in
That
the
is to go
bedroom? Go to
sleep.
sleep.
That is your
Yes,
serenity sanctuary. And in Sisters for Self,
yes.
we do a whole class on creating your serenity sanctuary in your home, which is usually your master bedroom, wherever you sleep, or your bathroom. That is a place where you go get still. That's a place of self care. That's a place where God gets to breathe some wisdom into you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place where you burn the soy candles, right? With the cotton wick that are lead free. That's where you create your oasis. And so that's a sacred place. But if you're going to invite stimulant into it, like a TV and outside things, it can't be your serenity sanctuary where you can go and get clarity. That's why there's a sanctuary in the church. People come to the sanctuary to get the wisdom, to get the word. You sit still in silence until it's time to get the Holy Ghost and start praising the Lord, right? Because you got the message, you connected the dots, it hit your soul. But if we don't create that in our everyday environment, in our home, we're leading ourselves down to the road of disease, which will lead to possibly heart disease. If we don't take care of our oral health, a lot of people don't
Yes.
floss every day, they don't brush their tongue, they don't get their teeth cleaned every 6 months, they don't change their toothbrush out every other month. I mean, your oral health is linked to your heart health. And if anybody's got bad breath and you're talking to them and you got a relationship with them, you need to let them know. When's the
Mm-hmm.
last time you've been to the dentist? Because that breath, that dragon that's coming out of there leads now to poor gut health.
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's all connected. So your oral health and it goes to your gut health. So you know that the liver or the pancreas, can be affected by that. And so we call the gut the second brain, right, Kathy?
Yes,
The gut is the second brain and it's doing the thought process for you. So if that's not taken care of and clean, then we're going back to dis-ease, which later on can link to heart disease.
it can. All of it can. And in terms of the sanctuary space, I want to challenge people. I mean, whether you're watching this with us live or if you catch this on the replay, if you have a TV in your room, like I said, I had a whole situation over here with them. I'm just saying, just go to bed without turning it on. Like actually go in the room and go to bed without turning it on. Whatever, I don't know. I don't argue with people about temperatures in the room because I'm a person that likes it hot. Some people like it cool, but whatever your temperatures are in your room, set your temperature. If you burn candles, I'm a diffuser girl. Light your candles if you're a candle girl or a guy, or if you have diffusers, whatever essential oils that are resonating with you at that particular time, because self-care is seasonal. You don't do the same thing every single day. It's
No,
seasonal. So like in the winter, I like my more earthy fragrances. So I'm going to go with a lemongrass. I still like
yeah,
citrus, but I'll go with a lemongrass,
favorite,
and
favorite.
eucalyptus. Yes. That's my fall and winter. In the summer, hey, I'm on the lime and the grapefruit, and I'm on the lemon, and I'm on the orange, because I'm on the opposite end of that. Lavender is just universal no matter what season for me. I mean, it's
Girl, I
gonna be
keep
some
my
lavender in there.
lavender right here. I
Girl,
keep
I
it
don't have my
right
purse with me. Yes, I got yes, yes. Lavender is universal. That's what I carry around me, but it's medicinal as well. So I mean, I have a lot of different purposes for that. But my challenge, our challenge to you, is to actually be able to go into your sacred space, your sanctuary of rest, because that's what it's for. Think of the word restoration. Sleep is restorative. Rest is the key word in that. So go in there and actually get some rest. It may feel weird at first, especially if you're used to the news being on, or CNN or the ESPN or whatever you're watching, or what's the people that the binge watching the episodes and the Netflix. If you have
Netflix.
all of that going on, turn it off. Just challenge yourself, and it may only work for 30 minutes the first night. Cool. Put it on a timer, right? If you watch TV for 30 minutes, put it on a timer, see if you fall asleep so you can begin to retrain your brain. We really have to retrain our brains to understand how the body was designed to work. Now,
Mhm.
I'm a nature girl, so I'm going to go back to how are we related to Earth? There were no street lights back in the day, right? How did people know when to get up? Because the sun came up.
Sunlight.
And for people who didn't have roosters, the sun woke them up, right? The people who had roosters, the rooster started to crow. If you didn't have a clock, you had the sun. When the sun went down, you slowed down. That's what was supposed to happen. Now we got these 24-hour news outlets. We have, excuse me, we have social media, and we have jobs. We have jobs that put us on these shifts that keep us up overnight, which throws off our circadian rhythm. Like
Girl,
we're not
listen.
connected with the earth when it
I
comes
call
to
it the
that.
golden handcuffs.
Listen,
That's what they
and then
have.
we're in these buildings with artificial light. We're in the buildings with artificial air, and so you're not recreating what's going on outside with what your body is naturally used to. If you go back to the simple things are so scientific. I'll
Simple.
say that they're so
Scientific.
scientifically, yes, scientifically advanced. But as humans, the smart humans and the ones, all of us with all this knowledge in our heads, we think nature is dumb, and that's not what it is. Like you can't. What was it? You can't fool Mother Nature. I'm just
You
saying,
can't
don't be
fool
messing
Mother
with Mother
Nature.
Nature.
You can't.
Look
And
at look at these bodies of water. Look at the
oh,
wind. Look at the
so
volcanoes. You
beautiful.
can't control nature. You can't control
Life.
nature.
It's life. If people
It is.
don't understand that life is nature and you can live it abundantly, we've missed the whole boat. The
We
corporate
have.
America world is the golden handcuffs. Yes, the majority of Americans are making a living, because they work in that corporate space. But that's where you've got to interject for yourself. Because I'm going to tell you, you can be easily replaced in the workplace.
But when you die, your job up on the board. With this regular time you clocked out, your job up on the board.
Yep. And,
Hmm.
and that's what people need to recognize because our health is our greatest wealth. It is our greatest wealth. Health comes first. You can't spend all that money if you're on your back sick or out of here. And most of us, unfortunately, and I'm talking to my people of color, We don't even have advanced directives in place if a heart
Listen.
episode takes place. That's a whole nother conversation. So then you leave the family in hardship. And then if you do survive your heart attack or stroke, now the family takes care of you, but they still got to work in the golden cuffs. So they still got to make
Yeah.
a living. They still got to put food on the table. And statistics have shown, Robin, that most caregivers go out of here before the loved one. So now,
Mm.
and so the heart disease awareness is huge. I mean, every day that you get up, you got to be grateful. We got to have that spirit of gratitude. But when what you eat for breakfast, when you get in your car and put your seatbelt on, looking out for the other guy when you're driving, unfortunately looking out to see if there's any guns out there or someone driving by that just has a mental illness that could just spray the whole Starbucks if you're these are the things we've got to be mindful of. Self-awareness for self-care. If you go into a movie theater, you need to look at all the exits because if something were to go down, where to go. We just unfortunately, that's just the way we have to think. But how do we get grounded? Nature,
Yeah.
meditation, sitting in
Yes.
silence, eating healthier foods, taking our blood pressure maybe 2 or 3 times a month. Get your in home monitor, right? Test the temperature of how you react to things. If you react to a simple thing after 2 or 3 times you hear your name called in the home and you blow up, you need to test yourself. You need to say, well, I need to back
Yeah.
up. I'm stressed a little bit. If you find yourself in bed all the time, or you find yourself isolated, or if a friend calls and says how you are and you're putting on a facade and you really aren't good, that's a red flag. That is a red
Mm-hmm.
flag. We need to be able to be more vulnerable to our sister circles. We need to be more vulnerable and be truly authentically ourselves with our children if you're raising them, to let them know every day ain't going to be a great day. You have several rainy days. How you cope with those rainy days is key. So let me show you and lead by example of what I'm doing. You might complain about it, but you and I know, Robin, them kids watching us and they're following us. And we become proud parents because they'll come to us and say, I journaled today, Mom. I journaled.
Listen.
I wrote a gratitude note. I sat outside on the ground on the pavement and I got my
Yes.
vitamin D and I saw a sparrow and I prayed. I mean, these are the things that is wellness, right? When you walk
Yeah.
into your daughter's room and she's diffusing lavender essential oil because she knows she needs to take some time for herself to heal.
Mm-hmm.
That I walk out of that room in pride, saying that is self care. That is taking care
Yes.
of herself because she's seen, the leader do it,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we've got to get in that space. We've got to get in that space.
We have to get in that space. And another thing, and I love to look for local things to do and very cost effective or free. So we have, here in Illinois, we have the Forest Reserve District of Cook County. We got like 75,000 acres of green spaces. So we're either the biggest in the nation or in the top three. I know that. Find a local preserve, or even if you don't have a local forest preserve or a local state park or a national park in your area, go to a regular park. Go to a regular local neighborhood park. Sit in the park. Don't be looking creepy though. I'm just saying, don't be up there looking like a little creepy. But go and sit in the park. Sit on the bench, in the park. The other thing you can do, drive up to, if you have a lake or even an ocean by you, and even just sit in your car. It would be great if you can get out and walk, but depending on the season of the year, even in the wintertime, I'll go sit next to some blue space. There is scientific evidence that blue space, even watching, if you think about when you see commercials, think about it. You saw a commercial, welcome to Jamaica, right? Where you trying to go? To Jamaica, right? You see that water, you see the blue skies, you see that greenery, you want to do that. So that actually taps into deep into your psyche to say, I need that, right? It's letting your body know that message is getting into your brain, and your body's like, oh my God, I would love to do something like that. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of money in order to
Mm-hmm.
do it, is what my point is. You can get memberships. I have a membership for. Oh, and I got this I ain't gonna say by happenstance. I got this because the Lord led me there, but I got it at a local college. So I got a membership to a botanical garden. I got it at a local college in Indiana, but it's reciprocal across the United States. So I actually, Terry, when I went back to Des Moines, I used it at the Des Moines Botanical Garden because it's
Nice. I
reciprocal
remember.
across the United. Yeah, it's reciprocal across the United States, and that cost me like $40 for the whole year. And so now I can travel wherever, and I can get into these botanical gardens.
Love
Also
it.
here in Chicago, we have a nature observatory that's entirely enclosed. Well, there's an outside space, but in the winter, a lot of people have weddings there, retirement parties. In the winter, it's on the west side for Chicago, it's Garfield Park. Go over there. I would go on my lunch break and I would sit. I'm either sitting in the room with the banana trees, or I'm sitting with the palm trees, or I'm sitting with the peace lilies.
Self
Like there are
care.
different rooms. I'm sitting next to the koi pond, and it really look. And then there's a desert room. So if you want that dry heat, there are rooms all over that place where you can go and you can escape on your lunch break. You can really put yourself. And I would bring my books and I would read and I would bring my lunch and I would eat my lunch. And so those are things that we can do to reconnect with nature. But we get in these concrete jungles and we get in these artificial environments and we think that's it. So we turn into those hamsters on the wheel that
Girl.
think, like you said, that those golden handcuffs, we think that that's it. And they give you a bigger check to do more work, but to do that more work for that bigger check, you live less of your life.
And
I
listen,
say
it's
get
not a
somebody else to
bigger
do it.
check. It's a facade. It's not a bigger
Oh, it's a
check.
bigger
So you
tax. It's a bigger
okay.
tax.
So you get the check and you're
Exactly.
like, well, hold up. You put it in writing that I was getting more, but after they take more taxes out. That's where you have to make a decision. Like, do you
Yes.
want to have a pay increase? If you do have a pay increase, you're gonna know that more taxes gonna it's gonna be more work for you. So if you already know that you were stressed out, you might not go for that promotion. I've known
Mm-hmm.
plenty of people now this they didn't caught on to it. They're like, no, I don't want the regional role. Just give me the rep role. I'm good. More time freedom for me. I'll produce the numbers. It ain't gonna be that much headache. I don't need to manage the folk because you take
Yeah.
on all the other people's issues and problems or challenges, and that's going to increase your stress level. Now, there's some good people out there who can manage it well, but I bet you they have a calendar. I bet you they have
Mm-hmm.
time management. These are people that we call, when I teach in the workplace about behavior styles, this is someone that's a high doer. A high doer is somebody who knows from 10 to 10:15. That's it. At 10:12, they're closing it out. Hey, by hook or crook, whether anything got done or not, hey, I got a 15-minute break for myself, which is a snack, right? Or go outside and get some breath of fresh air and come back in because I
Right.
got 11 o'clock meeting, and that 11 o'clock meeting is going to noon. I'll be in and at 11:50 because right at noon I will be in my car going to my lunch, or I'll be going, like you say, to the park to sit and listen to see if I can hear a bird chirp. That's a challenge. I always tell my clients, they go to the park. I say, and you just cut out all the noise. I want you to hear birds chirping.
Yes. Yes.
That's being still. That's just being like, whoa, Coach T, I ain't hear no birds chirping. There was so much going on. Yes, because you're in the wrong environment. All that inertia going on. You need to be in a quiet space before you go back into the workplace to finish your job.
Yes. You know what I call that, especially out on my walks? I call that nature soundtrack. So
Mm,
I go out, and if I'm in the forest reserve or something, because people are like, well, you walk in the woods by yourself. Well, this is just a disclaimer. Huh? You don't see nobody with me. That don't mean I'm alone. I'm just saying. But
exactly.
anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. Yes, but if I'm walking, one, like you said, I'm being safe because I need to see what my surroundings are. There are so many
Yeah.
people who just put on those earbuds and they just go. But then, how are you really enjoying being in that natural environment if you got music going? Listen to nature soundtrack, and if you do that, you can actually tap into, everything that's not everything, but everything that's in your proximity, right? Because we don't have,
Yeah.
animal, hearing ability, so we're not able to hear everything. But you're able to appreciate it, and when you hear like springtime, oh my God, when I hear the breeze on those leaves, it's like you know
Or
what,
the
like this
water
is.
coming across the rocks with the stream. Oh,
You
the
know, it's a good example. A good example in Ray. Remember in Ray when he was going blind and his mom was in the kitchen and he
yes.
caught that little bug and he heard and he was like, and I know you right there, mama, right? And he was talking to B in the restaurant. And he was like that bluebird over there. And she was like, where? And look,
Mm.
because he was so in tune to his surroundings that he wasn't distracted by everything else that was going on. That's focus. That's boundaries. That's boundaries around
Self
your self
care.
care.
Yes, it is. And Heart disease is the number one killer because people, like you say, are stressed out. They got a million and one things going in their head, which causes the pressure in the heart and the brain to increase. And
Mm-hmm.
if those arteries are clogged and you're so stressed out, something's got to give. It's going to burst, right? And the heart is a muscle and it has to beat. It's got to pump the blood, all the oxygen, all out to the working muscles for us to function. And so what I tell people is like, if you get so stressed out to where you can't sit in silence, you can't get enough rest, your brain is going on squirrel, um, you're walking down that path of probably having a episode. And I try to paint the picture like a water hose. So, when we were kids, when we used to play kick the can, or we used to play tag, or, cowboys and Indians, if we had the hose and we were skeeting, with the water hose, because that's what we did back in the day in the summertime.
Right, right,
We ran
right.
through the sprinklers or we skeeted you down with the hose because we couldn't go to the pools and the different places where there was a, nice pool to play in the water, but you would break it, you know,
And you got to stop it.
and stop
Yes,
that water.
yes.
Well, that's where you stop the blood flow to the brain,
Mm-hmm.
to the working muscles. And inside that hose, even if we just broke it a little bit, some water would come out, Robin, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Still trickle out. That means that you had enough blood coming through, but not a lot to get to the working muscles or for the brain to move, right? It's hurting inside. And so if you looked into that holes, you could see dirt and rocks and all kinds of stuff that might have gotten in there. That's that plaque.
Yes.
And so we got to have a clean hose, just like in your intestines. It's got to be clean. We can't have any blockage there because it's going to be painful. That's where the angina and the chest pain comes because the blood is trying to get out to the working muscles. But you're so stressed out. You got a million and one things going on. You're thinking about 4 weeks that's coming up, or you're thinking about how you got hurt in the past, or you're grieving a death. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stress on somebody where you just got to take the time to just breathe and figure out how am I going to cope with everything that's going on so that the pressure is down, so that I can make sure those arteries are clean. And that's a daily method of operation for ourselves. And it comes with choices. And your choices will lead to a habit, as we know. And those habits
Mm-hmm.
lead to a lifestyle. So if you have a lifestyle where you're going to every Saturday Chick-fil-A because you know they closed on Sunday, that's not
Right. Exactly. Right, right, right,
that's
right.
not a good lifestyle. Right?
Right.
Even if I
Right.
mean, I love Chick Fil A's kale salad. I'll go get the kale and the grilled nuggets and cut them grilled nuggets and put on there if I'm on the go. That might be the best choice I can make right then and there until I
Mm-hmm.
get home to make my real healthy meal. But I'm not gonna run through that drive-through and get the fried and the salad. I'm not gonna run through that drive-through and get the Arnold Palmer. I'm not even gonna get the unsweetened tea. I'm not getting that. I'll get a bottled water. That's the better choice. So our choices really matter. Somebody says, "Oh, it won't matter. I ain't had nothing fried in about a month or so." Moderation is great, right, Robin? I mean, we can eat things in
Yeah.
moderation, but it cannot become a daily method of operation that leads into a habit, right? That now leads into your lifestyle. It cannot because over time, that's where that dirt in that water hose starts to clog up in those arteries. You might not necessarily have a bad blood pressure at that point. If you
Mm-hmm.
have high blood pressure right now and you're on medication, them arteries got some sclerosis in there, right? And that's why people get them stents and all of that going on because they've got some clogging going on there. And really, I don't think the cardiologists really do anything until there's 80 or 90% blockage.
That's so weird. That's the whole nother podcast on the American medical system. Listen, baby, it's like you have to be your own advocate. And I think people, a lot of people are, one, they're afraid to go to the doctor, and another, they're afraid to ask their doctors questions. I
Oh
had a doctor
my
tell me
gosh.
years ago, I had a doctor tell me, no more Google for you, baby. I'm calling somebody. I'm gonna figure this out. This is when I was first, going through some things like, you know what? But now, I mean, I have a good relationship with my doctors, praise God. I mean, I really do. But they know me because I go for my regular exams. Like, you don't just not go because you're feeling good. They need a baseline. And for a lot of us in this sandwich generations you're talking about, Terry, this Gen X, a lot of us don't know our family's medical history. For one, our parents were at work. They weren't going to the doctor, right? And then they didn't know. And then another, because we were kids and you don't need to know. We came from that generation because I said so, right? Parents weren't sharing their health information. So you
Not
could
at
have a
all.
heart defect and not know it. There could be something wrong, well, not wrong, but there could be something that, is, a congenital defect in your heart that
Yes.
you need help with that you never knew about
Never knew.
until a big incident happened. And then you get there and now you got to go through this whole bypass surgery because that stuff built up over time. Or you have a heart that is not designed. So I'm so glad that they've gotten a little bit more detail with the athletic exams because it used to be you go
Oh
do
my
when we were doing
God.
it, you do a couple of jumping jacks, you touch your toes, and then you gone. Like so they've gotten a little bit more detail, which is how they're finding these heart,
It,
incidents with younger people. But
yes.
your heart is a muscle. And the more you work a muscle, the bigger that it gets. But the heart is the muscle that you don't want to be enlarged. Do that to your
At all.
biceps, do that to your quads. Think about it. Your heart is a muscle, and muscles grow when they work
Yes.
hard. And they get hard, exactly. They get harder. Your heart should be this small, right? Some people have big, like massive, which creates, yes, it creates all kind of issues inside of your rib cage because
Yep.
it's not meant to be that big. And the bigger the heart gets, the less room it
Oh,
has, and then the less
exactly.
work it's able
Work.
to do. And now it's harder. Like your heart becomes harder as a result of working. So you got to think about, and we understand, we know you got to pay bills, we know you have to eat, and we know this system. I don't know about if anybody else is watching us worldwide. Thank you if you are, but in America, America want to know what you can do for them and how long you can do it. And then even when you can't do it any longer, can they get you a voucher for half on your wheelchair? Because they ain't even gonna pay for the whole wheelchair. They give
No.
you $20 on the cane, half on your wheelchair. Like you still got to pay for your own wheelchair. You still have to pay for your own kickstand, right? Your patch over your eye, whatever it is that's going on. American industry, this capitalistic society wants you to just keep working.
Keep
See what they're
working.
talking about doing with the retirement age.
Oh
And
yeah.
so if you're working until you're 70, how many years life expectancy, right? So the Lord grants us those 70 years, right? So 70 years is a full life. Biblically, 70 years is a full life. Praise God. You make it to 70. But then that's a technically a full life. So if you stop working at 70, you're gone.
That's why
We
my
can
dad.
live a lot longer.
That's why my dad didn't stop working. He's like,
Yeah,
because every time my friends stopped working, they died of a heart
they
attack
died,
or a
right?
stroke. He was like, I can't stop working. He's like, because if I do, I might die. But unfortunately, he developed dementia, and that kind of secondary complications took him out of here years later. But the bottom line was that came from stress.
It came from stress. And it also came from his training too, because you got to remember he's a boomer, right? So he came from a different generation that you get up and that you go to work. But the other part, and I will say this about your dad was working in his passion. And that's what I do with my young people when I'm talking about my own children and my young people. Find something that's legal, because your passion could be out there slinging rocks. I ain't telling you to go do that, but
Yes.
hey, if that's how you pay the bills, that's on you. Don't tell me about it because I don't want to testify. I'm just saying. But if whatever your passion is, find a way to monetize that passion so that you
Yes.
don't regret getting up every day. You're not aggravated if you have to use an alarm clock.
Preach.
Getting restorative sleep, you can wake up without an alarm clock. Your body will be trained. But then when you're getting up to go and work in your passion, or as you say, Coach T,
Yes.
if you're dancing in your
Work
passion,
with passion.
who wouldn't love a job where you're dancing in your passion? Even though we can use that metaphor, you can use it literally because you're trained dancer. But metaphorically, if you're dancing in your passion and you're able to get out there, yeah, you don't play, y'all. Yeah, we still need to check. I'm just saying, but we will do this from our heart,
But
right? If
monetize
you
it.
that's what I'm saying. So make it legal, monetize it, keep a roof over your head, keep food in your belly. Now, do you have to keep up with the Joneses? I would rather go visit the Joneses. This is just me. I'm gonna visit the Joneses because the Joneses be having some nice parties and they have some nice spreads and brunches. I'm gonna visit them. I'm gonna bring my little housewarming gift, all of that. But am I gonna try to keep up with the Joneses at my expense? And then it
Mm,
ends up being at my demise. No, I'm
no.
not. I'm not gonna do it like that.
No,
So
because what
learn
God is
how
for you is for you.
it's for you.
Right?
It's for you. It's for you.
Yes,
But you know
it
what
is.
happens to us though, Coach T? We get into the job. Once again, we were trained to go to college, to get not just a good job. I mean, not a job, you're going to get a good job, right? So once you get your education, you end up growing and you end up getting older and you think about, I don't even really like this, but I got this whole degree. So I
Right.
gotta work here and then it pays well. And so when people see, now I congratulate people. I congratulate if the architect left his job after 15, 20 years and he over there cutting the rose bushes, that's what that man want to do, or that's what that woman wants to do, right? So if you have, someone who decided, okay, well, they told me I come from a whole family of educators. I have to become a teacher, right? So they're in this teaching profession. They're like, this is trash. You want to be a pilot? Sis, go on, fly that plane,
Be a
right? If
pilot.
you begin, because there's something for everybody. There are
It
billions of
is.
people on earth. And there's always, no matter how advanced AI gets, I do be watching though, because we probably walking among some of the robots. I'm just saying. But no matter how advanced AI gets, people were designed to be in community with people. So there's always going to be something that you can do with people. My grandmother used to always say, do something with your brain and do something with your hands. And what she
Yep.
meant by that was you can get your degrees, but if those
Right.
jobs are no longer available, what can you do? That stuff you can do with your hands can not only keep your livelihood going, but you can help somebody else. You can
That's
start
right.
to barter with things. If
That's
you're
right.
good at something, you can barter that service that you
That's
have.
right.
So if you're on that one track, that's when you get miserable, right? That's when you end up in those places where you're sitting in these cubicles. And
And
whose idea was
increasing
a
that
cubicle
stress.
anyway?
Yep,
Oh
increasing
Lord,
that
yes,
stress and out of
it
here.
really does.
Yep. That's why I
Yeah.
say dance in your passion and die in your passion. When you leave this earth, you want people to say, I'll tell you this, Coach T and Coach Robin, they truly danced in their passion and they died in it. You can't tell nobody that those two women did not die with dignity, doing exactly what they wanted to do, which was bring people value through health and wellness. And that's just what we're going to do. If you are not right now dancing in your passion, you need to sit still. You need to open up your gratitude journal. You need to write everything that you love to do down in that journal. I do this with my niche coaching. Write everything down that you love to do. Hobbies, anything that makes you happy that does not feel like work. That's what you need to write down, and you need to figure out how you create a business around it because
Hmm.
need for it out there. There is a need. I ask people every day, what are your wellness goals, if any? I was at an expo yesterday about heart health and wellness, and they said, "Ooh, I could lose a couple pounds, Coach T." I'm like, "Great." I said, "What would it look like if you lost X amount of pounds?" Oh my gosh, I probably would be not depressed right now because I don't like looking at my body in the mirror. I said, "Okay, so a goal is to look better at yourself in the mirror, and also for you to lose that weight." I said, "What else is there?" And how would that impact your life? They said, "Oh, I know it would increase some years onto my life." And I just really need to make better decisions, Coach T. I really need to stop eating donuts every morning for breakfast and orange juice. I said, "Well, that's why you're pre diabetic, because that ain't nothing but sugar." So if I
Hmm.
help you make a better choices for yourself, are you willing to work with me for 6 weeks? In order to transform your life and save your life. When's the last time you've been to the doctor? Oh, I don't go to the doctor, Coach D. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is the first thing is you need to schedule a routine visit. I don't have a primary care. Can you believe this, Robin? I don't have a primary care
Yeah.
physician. Okay, no problem. There are several clinics around. Do you have an insurance? Nope, I'm to pay out of pocket. Okay, well then we're to pay out of pocket. Now, I can show you how to get on the other side of money so you can pay for those routine visits yourself. And I can give you resources to get some healthcare insurance. So now I have a plethora of clients from yesterday now. But it was so sad and you
It
won't
is. It is.
and you won't be able to find out really what's going on with people. And you and I both know this unless you ask questions. You got
Yes.
to ask the questions. You got to really get deep to where you're earning their trust, so to speak, so that we can do what we do best. Because otherwise the number now instead of 34 seconds might be 30 seconds next year.
Yeah, that's true. So, Coach T, you gave the nugget. The next question I was going to ask about what we could leave people with. You did that. So you let them know, to dance in your passion. To make sure and have them to understand where we are in terms of dancing in our passion. And can you believe our time is winding down? But what I want you to do now,
No.
yes, yes, what I want you to do is let people know how they can reach you. And guys, thanks for joining us. And I'm going to put all her information in the chat, but I want you to say it on the video and then we'll archive
Yeah,
that. And then we're going to go on out and keep on making things great for people. Yeah.
I love it.
How
I'll
can they
leave
find
you
you?
with this, Robin. My blood pressure was 155 over 100 in 2020. I thought I had COVID. I was
Mm,
50 years old, and it wasn't until I went to my gynecology exam. That's why it's important to go to get your routine exams. And they said, we're not treating you. Your blood pressure is 155 over 100.
mm,
You need to go to the emergency room. They put me on blood pressure medication, and I was devastated. And I fly for a living, so I could have had a heart attack, a pulmonary embolism, or a stroke. And so I did that, and I was introduced to take some supplements, and it's a heart health pack. I took it in less than 40 days. I was off my blood pressure medication. I lost 16 pounds. Now, 16 pounds of what? Water, toxins, inflammation, fat. So many people think, oh, you lost 16 pounds of fat. What you doing, girl? Let me see what you got. People need to realize that inflammation is bad for us, right?
mm-hmm.
When we get injured and we get inflamed, your body's trying to heal. As a physical therapist, I know that it's trying to heal itself. So you will have an ankle swelling, you got to ice and all that kind of stuff. But if you constantly have a lot of inflammation in your body, that is a red flag that's leading you down to disease. Okay. And so I will tell you now, I've helped more women get off their blood pressure medication, lower their A1C, get rid of those toxins, all because of learning the right way and choices to choose your foods and the right supplements where you're absorbing these supplements, right, 10 times more than any supplement that you would get at a local vitamin store. And so you all can follow me at Sisters for Self Care, Sisters, the number four, Self Care, on Facebook. On IG is Sisters for Self Care underscore wellness coach. And then you also can go to sistersforselfcare.com, to the website. We're actually doing Men Go Red 2 this Thursday night at 9 o'clock. And you guys can register right there on Sisters of Self Care. It's free. But we got men, Robin, coming on talking about erectile dysfunction. That's because they on high blood pressure medication. We
Mm-hmm.
got coming on who have strokes, men who've had multiple heart attacks, and all because they made better choices, right? Which led to better habits and now better lifestyle. They're living with us now to this day.
That's good stuff. Thank you so much, Coach T, for joining us here on Self-FULLness Matters. We pray, it is our prayer that you were able to get some of these practical solutions that we offered. We're not saying it's the holy grail. These are things that have worked for us, and these are things that have worked for the people who we work with. We just want to share them with you. And like she said, we are dancing in our passion. We are on a mission to
Mhm.
make sure that if we don't do anything else, we share the information. Now, what you do with the information that we share is up to you, right? And if you want to contact me, you can reach me here on YouTube or any other social media outlet at Coach Robin Renee. And once again, I have enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
One thing that's on the horizon for you for next week. What's one thing that's on the horizon?
The one thing's on the horizon for next week, I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to be impacting lives. I'm going to be doing some personal growth and development. And guess what? I'm going to get out there in some nature. That's what I'm looking for next week.
Yes, that's my thing that's on the horizon. We got 40 and 50-degree days with all sunshine next week. So I'm outside. I'm outside.
Meet me
Thank you
outside.
so much. Yes, meet me outside. How about that? I love you, Coach T, and this has
I love
been
you,
a
Rob.
joyous conversation speaking with you. Take care, everybody.
Love you. Bye bye. Go red.
Go red. Oh, don't just wear the color. Do something good for your heart. Be
Please.
heart smart.